different things you
Wait,
could
hold
do.
on. I need some snacks for this. So like take 2 minutes now, go get some fucking snacks. We're gonna watch this. I'll be right back. I'm not quitting, fuck off.
Though this land is shrouded in pain and darkness, it teems with life.
Blindly! No, please!
Behold the
No,
sacred
don't.
grove itself.
Store the leftover life force to fertilize higher tiers of seeds. Discover rare seeds that yield exotic crafting options or dangerous endgame bosses.
Next thing better be a fishing league, I agree. I don't know how I feel about this. It looks terrible, to be honest. It really does. It looks terrible. It looks very tedious. Oh no, I'm not saying it can definitely be very rewarding.
Exile's most literal sense.
This looks like blight in terms of tediousness, which I don't like. But we'll see more first.
The core reward for this league is from the crafting itself. The philosophy is that rather than processing a large number of rares to find good loot, players will be able to regularly craft themselves powerful upgrades. ZiggyD is aware that if they want to explore turning back constant loot explosions, the crafting needs to be very powerful to compete.
The crafting looks sick. I might stay SSR for the first league.
If you wanted a specific physical craft, you might opt to plant a bunch of the same
Targeted
type of
annuls?
seeds to grow for a specific crafting purpose. Condensed life force cannot be used for crafting, but it's important for growing higher tier seeds. And on that note, seed monsters will sometimes drop tier 2 seeds. These require more complex gardening to grow to maturity. Tier 2 seeds will offer more powerful rewards, including access to rare tier 3 seeds.
Some of these
Gardens
are going to
can be
one-shot.
kept fairly simple, growing vast quantities of tier 1 seeds harvested at once, and tier 2 and 3 seeds will offer more dangerous monsters and boss fights.
Great.
Two-handed melee is getting some much-needed love. Big, slow attacks have often found themselves at the short end of the stick, despite their usage of really big sticks.
That means that the undisputed divination card I made is going to be really fucking good this league. Merciless Elder Valax.
Additionally, Warcries now take into account the power level of enemies rather than just how many are nearby. As a result, they will now be much more effective against bosses and other difficult monsters. Rallying Cry's rework aims at giving a lot more support damage potential, depending on the power level of nearby enemies.
Summoner's
it also
Paw?
exerts your next few attacks. ZiggyD are aiming to make brand builds more
Cool rings.
interactive, while the most powerful Archmage brand builds will be getting nerfed. New options including 3 new brand skills are being added to the game to open up brand new playstyles. The first of these is Arcanist Brand.
Is
Like
Ziggy's
other brand
girlfriend
skills,
pregnant?
Arcanist Brand can be
That's a
placed
lot
on
of
the
dad
ground
jokes.
and it'll attach itself to monsters. The kicker is that Arcanist Brand will trigger any other linked spells, so you'll now be able to turn almost any spell into a brand, even having it cast several different spells in sequence. Another new brand skill coming alongside Harvest is Penance Brand, which is a different take on the brand concept. When the Penance Brand attaches to an enemy, it starts building up energy and spreading it to other nearby enemies. When the brand is removed, the built-up energy explodes, dealing physical and lightning damage. Multiple Penance brands will be able to build up energy more quickly, and the design of the skill will let you trigger explosions through brand recall, enemies dying, or brands expiring. Other new skills and more details on reworks will be coming over the next couple of weeks. Path of Exile now has around 900 uniques in the game, and this expansion
look to the left?
are also being added to the core tree,
Oh, you're
such
right.
as the Agnostic. Legion Jewels will also be seeing some changes as a result. Doriani's prototype is a big, new unique chest armor that, quite frankly, scares me. Your lightning resistance will no longer affect you, with it instead being applied to nearby enemies. What this means is that you can run around with negative 60 lightning resistance to greatly enhance the lightning damage enemies take. To hopefully stop you from dying, the chest also allows your armor value to mitigate lightning damage in addition to physical. Though this is potentially a very powerful damage boosting chest, getting enough armor to survive lightning damage may prove an interesting build challenge.
That sounds like
Following
a softcore
our very
chest.
apparent lightning theme.
First impressions, it looks incredibly tedious, incredibly powerful. I think it can be good, but you know, like, I think it can be good. It looks even more tedious than Blight to me.
Okay, you mentioned it, so I'm gonna ask about it then. What's this labyrinth thing all about? Are you willing to say?
Eternal Labyrinth of Fortune. So it's an eternal lab. It doesn't have new ascendancy points because it's just the eternal lab, but it has the of Fortune mod, and maybe there are several of these that do different things and change your rewards or whatever. We'll see what you can grow in the garden.
I'm gonna go through that on a frame by frame basis.
That's what I've always wanted.
That,
I've always been asking for that for like 2 years and suggesting it a lot.
You don't get as many rare items from League monster drops and direct League rewards in this league, and that's intentional because we've been showering players on items for engaging with League content, and it gets more and more. In fact, we found that players, when we give them the same number of rare items in a new league, because the league is obscure and, you know, it takes some effort to learn and all that kind of stuff, you know, for each league we release, players aren't good at it from day one. They see it as less rewarding compared to the one that they became good at that has the same drops from before. And so we had to gradually creep up item drops from the league monsters over time. Now, we agree they should drop better than regular monsters because they're more difficult and they require engagement with mechanics and so on. But the level of league drops probably shouldn't be as high as it was. Right, you know, it's a learning exercise. With Path of Exile 2 coming up, we want to know how big should crafting be, and so that's the big experiment we're running here. Yeah, there's been more emphasis on using color to communicate mechanical information.
Different, the color scheme looks really good.
And so, for example, the color-coded seeds and monsters here indicate what types of monsters they are and help you easily navigate your garden and, you know, see which fight you're engaged in and so on. People on Reddit and in chat say, actually, I want cluster jewels to drop from any monster. I know the feeling, but we believe that the best thing to do is to have them drop from Delirium, to have Delirium accessible relatively easily, and for them to be a pretty common item in there, because it gives you, you know, character for that league. There's a reason why.
Yeah, I don't think they should drop from everything.
Instead of disabling stacking, we're going to still allow it. We're just making sure to take into account all of the various ways people were abusing stuff with cluster jewels. Having said that, you know, we love the mechanic. It adds so much depth to characters. It makes Path of Exile more Path of Exile, and that's what we like.
Okay, I love that you're taking that route as well. Like, I think it's much more interesting to still let people do things like stack stuff. It's also the much harder route for you guys to balance because you have
very hard to balance
things that can stack and how.
So the first thing we're doing is making it so that brand recall inherits part of the cost of the brands that you're
I
using.
knew they were going to do that.
Incredibly expensive brands, then they're somewhat expensive to recall, so that Archmage has some mana use after they've cast their big ones at the beginning of the map. There's also changes to how brand recall works with duration, so that it can. You know, it's still good to use, but it's not going to mean that you can drag the same brand throughout the entire map. The intention is that you do recast your brands occasionally.
That's good, though. I didn't like
when
them.
they drop off to the place that they were last recalled or last cast.
So to sum up, I think the league has a lot of potential. I'm actually quite looking forward to it as well. I kind of regret leaving Delirium SSF. I do a little bit of SSF for like the race. And then I go back to Trade League and kill bosses. But I feel like Delirium was a really good SSF league. I think this is going to be potentially an even better SSF league. Like, there's so much broken crafting, you might not need trading at all. So I think that sounds like a lot of fun. I'm a little bit worried about, especially for the 100 race, that the mechanic, it looks incredibly skippable in terms of like how dangerous it looks like it could be. So I could see myself... I usually don't do this anymore. Like, the last 3 leagues, I've done the mechanic quite a lot while leveling to 100, which is obviously a huge risk for dying. I could see myself skipping it very quickly, like past 75 or 76 maps. And I'm mostly worried about how tedious it's going to be. I'm sure you all see, right? I didn't like Blight. And I didn't like the backtracking in Delirium. This could potentially have the worst of both worlds, like Blight and having to go into a different area. Other than that, there's a lot of things I'm excited about. I think it's great that they're trying to like really break the game and like be a little bit extreme leading up to PoE 2, like with things like, you know, the voices and things stacking. Get a lot of the extreme stuff out of the way now and have a more balanced PoE later. Sounds like a pretty cool thing that could work very easily, I think. I think one of the strongest things about Path of Exile is because that it is in leagues like we have, we get to it doesn't really matter what happened last league, right? You could completely take it out. I'm not a massive fan of cluster duels staying in. With the amount of stuff that's currently in the game, I think they're at the stage where they could, which obviously is a big waste of development time, but every league could just have a different OP thing that doesn't go core. I mean, it's probably a dumb take, to be honest, but I just feel like there's so much power creep at this point that we could just move from a like exact same percentage of power creep, just in a different area. Like, wow, now you have these cool things you can put on your amulet. Ooh, now you have stronger helmet chance or something for one league. And standard's gonna be kind of fucky anyway, right? So that's like the TLDR of the league. A lot of exciting stuff. A lot of the crafting, especially the like maps don't consume sextants, is insane. Especially for things like Nemesis monsters drop 3 additional currencies. So yeah, the main things I'd say. Very excited. Gonna do a like PoE University thing leading up to the new league. So probably starting the 12th, maybe 11th. I'll announce it on Twitter. 12th or the 11th, I'm gonna do PoE University. It's gonna be a lot of things like everything explained, full playthroughs where I over explain everything. Lots of guides, crafting content, how to play SSF, and we're gonna do it all live on Twitch, and you can like ask questions and stuff. So thanks for watching. Try to die less than I do.